अनेक जन्म संप्राप्त कर्म बंध विदाहिने आत्मज्ञान प्रदानेन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। चैतन्य शाश्वत शांतो व्योमातीतो निरंजनः इंदुनादकलातीतः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। चिन्मयं व्यापि यत्सर्वं त्रैलोक्यं सचराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटिः समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। भवानी शङ्करौ वन्दे श्रद्धा विश्वासरूपिणौ याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धाः स्वान्तस्थमीश्वरम्। सुजनसंगं सुशास्त्रधारणं सुजनसंगं सुशास्त्रधारणं सौम्यवर्तनं सौशील्यस्नेहं सौम्यवर्तनं सौशील्यस्नेहं आदरभावं प्रेमानुरागम् आदरभावं प्रेमानुरागम् भगवच्चिन्तन प्रशान्तमानसम् भगवच्चिन्तन प्रशान्तमानसम् सुजनसंगं सुशास्त्रधारणं सौम्यवर्तनं सौशील्यस्नेहं आदरभावं प्रेमानुरागम् भगवच्चिन्तन प्रशान्तमानसम् भगवच्चिन्तन प्रशान्तमानसम् विजय अशेष संपद सुख संतोषम सुजन संगम सुशास्त्रधारणम भगवच्चिंतन प्रशांत मानसम भगवच्चिंतन प्रशांत मानसम सुजन संगम सुशास्त्रधारणम सुजन संगम सुशास्त्रधारणम अंतरात्म प्रकाशस्य स्वतो यदवभासनम् परमात्मगुणस्यान्तः यच्चित् स्वादुदयात्मकम् चिद्रूपेण स्वसंविद्या स्वचिन्मात्रं विभाव्यते स्वयमेव रूपहृदयम् वातेन स्पन्दनं यथा जगच्चिदिक्षु माधुर्यम् चित्क्षीरस्निग्धता जगत् जगच्चित्क्षौद्रमाधुर्यम् जगच्चित्कनकाङ्गदम् जगच्चित्कनकाङ्गदम् Managing watchfulness is also one of the important ingredients of the strategy for success. We have already seen the main ingredients and the practical strategy of the personal skills and now we move on to the social skills, and in that the first one, which is managing watchfulness. To enhance or improve the skills of watchfulness, we have to be in the presence of the present moment. Unless we are in the presence of what? Of the present moment, we cannot enhance the skills connected with watchfulness. This is the fundamental requisite of managing watchfulness. To to experience life in the moment, and also to watch, to observe, to see, to notice, to recognize the people and their behaviors that are happening around us. Wherever we are, we need to be in the presence of the present moment. As we are normally, if we get occupied with the plans for the future and the recollections of the past, then it becomes very difficult for us to focus on what is happening around us in the present moment. Not only difficult, but it will become impossible. If we leave the mind in its mechanical way of functioning, then it will either get occupied with the plans for the future, which of course are necessary, but not important while practicing the watchfulness. There has to be a specific particular time to be allotted for the planning, because planning also is an important ingredient. But that does not mean that we get occupied with future planning always. Always mind is running ahead. And it is not available where we are. And another mechanical aspect of the mind is recollections from the past, recollections of the past. Mechanically it goes into it. There is no significant importance of it in the present. There is no benefit of it in the present. But even then, the mind goes into it, starts brooding upon it, recollecting it, reliving it, engrossed in it, and fails to take notice of the things that are happening around it. So this is the reason why in many of the practices, whether they are connected with the materialistic success or any other type of success, including the spiritual success, keeping the mind in the presence of the present is a very important thing. So unless this basic requirement is fulfilled, we cannot begin managing watchfulness. Otherwise, we will be watched by others. That is all. There will be no one inside who is called as the watcher to manifest this quality of watchfulness. If the preoccupation is there. So, the first point here is that we should be present in the present moment, or we should bring ourselves into the presence of the present moment. Then the second important point is, even though as an outline we have seen about our preoccupation with mental chatter, the point here is be aware and do not get locked up in the internal mental chattering. What happens is, at times we find that we are locked up in it, meaning we do not know how much of time passes by. And we don't know how to come out of it also. We are locked up. We are stuck there. The chattering goes on and then we are stuck, and thereafterwards we cannot tune ourselves to what is happening outside us, what is happening around us. And sometimes what happens is, whenever we are stuck in this internal mental chatter, we don't even become conscious of others' communication with us. We are lost in it, we are locked in it, so we don't become conscious of who is saying what to us, let alone what they are doing, and our requirement of observing them, that is anyway not there. But we are also not available even to respond to their communication. They attempt to communicate to us, they try to say something to us, we are locked up in our mental chatter, or because of that, what we do generally is, we start preparing our response even before they have completed their communication. They wanted to say something, they started saying that. Before they complete it, we are already planning for it, and sometimes we begin our communication. They are yet to complete, they are still incomplete. So this happens because we are getting locked up in our mental chatter. And this is not a good sign of maintaining a good relationship. We should allow the other person to complete the communication. Allow the person to say what the person has to say. Listen to it carefully. Pay attention to it. Where are we if we are locked up inside? It is not mere hearing. As Swami Chinmayananda used to say, listening is more important. In hearing, we don't observe the person. We just hear the words. But in listening, we also become aware of the tone, of the volume, of the voice, of the expressions. There are various things that speak in an individual other than words. In addition to words, there are many things that are speaking in an individual. Listening means to stay in communication with all these things. Then we can get more information. Because when somebody communicates, it is not only the words, there are many things that get involved in communication. So that is the reason why we have to be out, we have to unlock ourselves from the internal mental chatter, and then be aware of the way in which the other person is communicating with us. This also has a very significant importance. That is why when somebody is communicating with us, there is no need for us to pose. Many people do this as if they only have great important preoccupation. That is lack of mannerism. Minimum basic requirement of good mannerism. When somebody is communicating with you, suddenly you attend to a phone call. What is this? As if the other person has no phone calls. Suddenly you get occupied with a handheld. Whether you are holding it in hand, whether it is holding you, we don't know. We really don't know who is holding whom. See, all these occupations are not good manners. When somebody is communicating, stay there, be there. That also is a very beautiful way of increasing the awareness, which is the first requirement in personal skill. We have already covered it elaborately. So, to get out of the mental chatter, to be aware of what and how the other is communicating with us is very, very important. That is why this becomes the second point here. And then the next one is to watch how people communicate with each other, how people interact with each other without ourselves being in that interaction. That enhances our power of observation. Because when others interact with each other and when we observe it, we will also come to know how people express through their entire personality. Probably it will help us to watch others who are communicating with us. This experience will help us because we are not involved in it, so we can be more free in observing. When we are involved, we might be little bit stressed out sometimes, pressurized sometimes. But when we are not in the interaction and we are observing the interaction that is happening between others, amongst others or between others, between two or amongst many, then we will be able to notice and recognize how people communicate with the whole personality. It is very important. And one more thing happens here is we will be able to get acquainted with the connection of the internal temperament with the external feeling when we make this observation. Internal temperament with the external feeling in others. So then, when we are in direct communication with others, it helps us to recognize the temperament inside by noticing the expressions outside. But we have to be in safe distance in order to make this observation. Not to stand in between two people when they are interacting with each other and then look at both of them. Why? Because somebody suggested to me like this. It is not like that. Stay away at a safe distance. Don't stand beside them and start staring at them. General observation. There are many places for us to observe. Parties are there, functions are there, coffee shops are there, malls are there, social gathering places are there. So, in order to acquire the skill of watchfulness, we need to do that. Not that we have to do some CID investigation for somebody. Our mind may be interested, but that is of no use. This is only for enhancing our skill. That is all it is. So this also helps us. Because this makes us really get tuned to people while they are communicating. Total tuning is very important. Because to pay attention to the whole personality and also to the inner being and also to the actual source of the person, all this is very important. I have heard that once a computer expert and a very successful person in the field of computers, probably like Bill Gates, who was an American, was explaining to people that he and his team members are trying to develop a new operating system for computers. All these systems are already there, but they are trying to develop a new operating system for computers. At the same time, in Japan, they were making announcements that they are on the verge of developing a new operating system. Here they are trying. There they are on the verge of developing. And it is said that in China, they were ready to give that operating system for half price. And in India, it was already being sold in a CD for 20 rupees. Meaning, the presence of the mind in tune with what is happening around. That is very important. That makes us perform better. So, once we understand the importance of watching the people around without entering into the interaction, and then we move on to the next point. Inviting others. For what? Who are to be invited? Invite the people who like you and invite the people who may not like you. But you are connected with them in relationship. This always happens to everyone. There is nothing peculiar about discovering people who don't like us and discovering people who like us. This is always there for everybody. Some may know it, some may not know it. Whatever we do, there will always be people belonging to these categories. And third category will anyway be there. They neither like nor dislike. They don't know what they are having towards you. So always this will be there. Never we can change these types of people who are fixed into their categories. Never we can bring them to other categories. We can forget about that. But this helps us. What way? When we invite people and who like us and who may not like us, and we ask them to say something about us, then you know what happens? We will never feel pricked when we listen to these statements from third party, fourth party. What happens normally in relationships is, it is the third person, fourth person will come and tell these things, and we get pricked and we get switched off from that relationship. We don't try to communicate with them anymore, nor we try to improve ourselves, which is the important thing, what can be utilized through their communication. So that is why, if we can directly invite, or we don't lose a chance when people are saying something, let them say. It is always there. For everybody it is there. So let them say. People who like also say, people who don't like also say. But let us take note of both these things. When we take note of both these things, then probably there will be something which we don't discover through our observation in ourselves, which we may be helped to discover by others' observation and their contribution in explaining about us, in telling about us. And that is a very helpful tool in managing watchfulness. This does not mean that we have to dance to the tunes set by the other. That is not the point here. Simply listen to them, and then it helps us to improve ourselves. If it is apt, if it is there, then we may try to improvise. If it is not born out of a constructive remark from the other person, then we may ignore it. So, but we get used to this. But this is very good in relationships. If we get used to this, listening to both these things, we strike balance. Because ultimately, in highest philosophy, what they say is, you have to be in balance when you listen to both these things. Don't lose your mind either by listening to the praise or by listening to the criticism. We strike balance because we are giving opportunity for others to say about us. It will help us to improve also. It will help us to raise the levels of our balanced state of mind. So this is a very important tool in managing watchfulness, because when we are watching, if we get lost because of these pricks, then we don't fulfill that condition of watching with awareness. So it helps us. It is very important thing. This will also help us to be alert in our interactions with others. When the newly married husband came back home from the office in the evening, the wife told him, "There is a good news for you." And she said, "The good news is we become 3 from 2. We are going to become 3 from 2. And then the husband becomes so happy, so thrilled, and expresses the joy and says, "What a nice thing you told me, what a great thing you told me. I think really it is a very nice thing that is happening." So much of joy he expresses. But the wife, little surprised, and says, "I never thought that you will express so much of joy when my mother told me that she is going to stay with us and she is coming now, tomorrow. That is how we are becoming 3 from 2. And he heard this. He didn't expect this, but he already expressed joy. If he withdraws even an iota from that now, he will have it. So he has to maintain the same level of enthusiasm and continue to talk and interact. How is this possible? This will be possible only when we can manage watchfulness. Otherwise it will not be. Because the person is happy, you expressed happiness. Now some additional piece of information entered. You can't suddenly become sad. You can't suddenly become lost. That is what is managing watchfulness is all about. So this is very important. This has to be taken care. So that is why whenever we invite people to express whatever they want to say, we develop a sort of steady watchfulness inside us. When we listen to their criticism, when we listen to somebody's praise, let us not say they are right or wrong or harsh. These are all our judgments. Don't at all say right, wrong, harsh. Let them say whatever they want to say. This way you are helping others also. It is a social service, because you are making them feel lighter by unburdening themselves in this manner. So let them say what they want to say. And this way, what happens is our prarabdha also will become less. Instead of we getting attacked by prarabdha, we are inviting it, so that we can manage it very well. It is nice. In relationship, it is always good to know different opinions. Especially people who like and people who don't like. They are always there. Let them say what does it matter. It will help us to become steady. We can even develop ourselves into sthita prajna. Possible. A man of steady wisdom. So it helps in various things also in interactions. So it is always advised to have both these things. And somebody said, we have 2 ears. Why? Because to listen to 2 different things. And yet remain steady inside. That's what it is. Otherwise what happens? We go out of the balance. So let them be there. They are always there. If you don't want also, they will be there. So let them say. That is better. We utilize their presence for our improvement, and later on we thank them for their contribution. Otherwise we will not be what we are without their contribution. So that is also very important. The next point is to place ourselves in the position of the other and then try to totally tune to that position of the other and understand how to respond to the situation while tuning to the position of the other. This also is a very important ingredient to enhance the skills of watchfulness. Anyway, we are in our position, our situation. We know how to respond to that situation as we can. Place ourselves in others' situation and try to respond to their situation, and then we will understand how we can respond to different situations Suppose there is an opportunity for us when our co-worker or our friend or our colleague or our family member is being cornered by somebody who is higher in authority, who is greater in respect or power. They are cornering one of these persons and they are trying to extract an answer because they have not fulfilled their responsibility, because they have not completed their task, because they have not done their duty. So somebody is trying to corner them, extract an answer, and they are in a tense situation. They are in a stress and pressure, struggling to answer. And that situation we are observing. At that time, mentally try to place yourself in that position. We can try to place ourselves in that position and try to enact how we can respond to this situation. Because how we can feel the pressure around, how we can really feel when a person is cornered. Because we are not, somebody else is. So it is easy for us to plan for a response, to enact a response. So that that situation, when it arises to ourselves, is possible in our life also. We might not sometimes fulfill our duty, fulfill our responsibility, complete the task that is given to us, and fail or forget or whatever it is, whatever might be the reason, occupied, preoccupied, we might not do what we are supposed to do, and somebody is cornering us. Instead of reacting, instead of feeling offended, instead of feeling disturbed, instead of feeling pricked, instead of feeling insulted, we can properly respond to that person and yet maintain a healthy interaction, yet maintain a connection, yet utilize that relationship for furthering our goals towards success. How important it is, how important this skill is. Otherwise, we will be put off. So, if we can plan like this, when somebody is being cornered, our ego always goes into that situation and says, "Acha, very good, let it happen more." No. These are all things that sometimes we do. So that is not the point. Or silently there will be nice pleasure inside. Somebody is getting kicked, somebody is getting kicked. No, very nice. Not that. That which we will never get any benefited by that. If we place ourselves in that position, change it. Let us change the way in which we function. We place ourselves in that position. Poor fellow is being cornered. If I was in that position, how I would try to respond to this situation. That really prepares us. Next time we are cornered, we are now not affected badly. We know that we have done something not apt or we did not fulfill our obligation. Then we know how to respond to the situation and then yet move towards success. Remember, these are practical strategies for managing watchfulness. Theory we have already seen. Already we have covered managing watchfulness, the theoretical aspect. Few things connected with practical. This is a strategy, practical strategy. So it's a very important thing. That is how we have to be. Then only we can actually, factually be very alert in situations. Once it so happened that the boss of a company was conducting a meeting in 25th floor of a hotel. 25th floor of a hotel. They were having that meeting in that hotel. And he called the receptionist while the meeting was on. In the 25th floor, he called the receptionist and said, "My assistant would be waiting in the lobby there. Please pass on the message to him. Tell him that at once he has to bring the papers to me. And this meeting is on the 25th floor. At once he has to bring the papers which he is holding to me right now. It's very urgent. It's an emergency situation in meeting. Immediately he has to get it." So the receptionist called the assistant and communicated the message. And then the assistant went to the 25th floor after 35 minutes, perspiring, gasping for breath, tired, sweating, exhausted. He came to the 25th floor and he entered the meeting hall. And then the boss looked at him and then he was really angry and said, "I told that it is very important and the papers have to reach me immediately, and then you bring them after such a long time. Now this is an opportunity, point number one, to observe the person who is being cornered, place ourselves there, and then see how to respond. That is of course. But then you know what happened is, what this person said is, sir, I immediately tried to bring these papers to you. I went to the lift, I went near the elevator, but there I saw it was written, in case of emergency, take the stairs. That is generally written only in case of some accident or fire accident or whatever it is, don't go by lift and take the stairs. In case of emergency, take the stairs. Because it was an urgent situation, I took the stairs. That is not a right way of responding. Because there is a caption there, but that is not for you. This is not the situation. Emergency situation is not for you to climb the stairs. It is in the meeting the boss communicated through the receptionist. I don't know what receptionist said to him, to assistant, but it is an important situation, rush. So he thought it differently. So what happens is, when we are not available in the present, or when we are lost or locked up in our mental internal chatter, or we are not having that skill to observe what is happening around us, or we are not prepared to get cornered in testing situations, it will happen like this to us. So that is why it is said, positioning ourselves in other situation and trying to enact it and trying to seek answers and solutions, how to respond to the situation, that is very important. That helps us. Somebody is in a very troublesome situation and then we want to help. But how can we help unless we have some ideas to bring the person out? How best we can get those ideas? If we can place mentally ourselves in that situation, easily we will get such very good ideas. And we can help them also. And at the same time, we can also prepare ourselves for many of such things, such situations. Continuing further, we move on to recognizing the hidden feelings in others. When we inquire from people, normally, mechanically, we do inquire many times, how are you? And normal mechanical answer is fine. Okay, doing good. But sometimes what happens, if we stay alert, we will come to know that the face indicates something else, the words indicate altogether a different thing. The words speak something, the face indicates something else. At that time, we can take little more time for them and then ask them in a very polite manner, is there anything wrong that is happening with you? Or may I do something which can keep you peaceful? Or in what way I can reduce the stress that is happening to you? Then this way, if we can raise the questions, but in a polite manner, and we can also say, if possible, I don't feel that you are okay, you are feeling low, or you are feeling down. May I help you? So if we can interact in this manner, and thereafterwards we will give them an opportunity to speak out. Because this is a social skill, because this is connected with managing watchfulness, this is an apt response from us in such situations when we see people who are speaking something and the face is indicating altogether a different thing that is happening to them. And once they start opening up, because people will feel concerned when you ask actually. Otherwise, you ask how are you and not ready to listen also. Many times people are not ready to listen. They are saying, yeah, I'm fine. By the time you are already occupied with something else, gone into mechanical asking, mechanical replies. This is not a good interacting skill. So that is why here, once the person starts opening up, starts saying something, pay total attention to what the person says. And then sometimes people share what mistakes they have committed, what faults happened to them. And at that time, we can take note of these things, that if we are in those situations, we need not commit those mistakes, we need not get into such faults. See, this is a real good help. And at the same time, we can also give an opportunity for the person to rethink by sharing with us. And then we can also tell some good piece of advice how to come out of that botheration, or we can also do something to lift their level of peace and make them come out of stress and pressure and botheration which they are undergoing. This helps in both the ways. We can help them to come out, and also we can avoid such faults and mistakes, because we may also be in such situations. Who knows? Suddenly we might be facing such situation, and how we should do that. So when they say, I should not have done this, I did that, I should not have said that, I said that, I know that I have committed a mistake, and because of that the relationship has broken or is not good now. So all that they share, you can also suggest to them, unburden them, lift them, boost them, and at the same time, we can also understand how we can respond when we face such situations. This is again a skill to enhance our watchfulness. Very important thing. And then we move on to next thing. Another point is, because of global connections, nowadays everyone is connected with everybody else on the other side of the world. So people keep coming, going, and then so much of traveling happening, and so many things get mixed up. The culture, the cultural mannerism, various other things, when they get mixed up, then it is at that time we should know how to treat others. It is also an important ingredient in managing watchfulness. Treat others how they want to be treated, not how you would want to be treated. We want to be treated by others, that is good. There is a saying, treat others as you want others to treat you. That is a saying is there. But here, because of cultural mixing and global mix-up, now what we have to understand is, treat others how they want to be treated. That is very important. Not how you would want to be treated. Because different culture has different mannerism. They expect different things. They express different things. So we need to be very watchful, very careful, and very alert in noticing these things. Otherwise, we may mechanically behave as we do normally, and that may not set a tune for a healthy interaction with others. There are many people who now understand that when they see Indians anywhere in the world, they try to greet, the concerned people try to greet with Namaste. They have understood. Namaste is a very important thing, and many Westerners are talking about the significance of it, how we can look at the person beyond their limitations, shortcomings, negativities, faults, mistakes, all that in Namaste, how to be positive, that is a sign of positive greeting. So many people are elaborately explaining about that, so they greet. So naturally we feel very happy when somebody says Namaste. We feel very happy. And we see certain cultures, they recognize our traditional attire, and then they appreciate it. It is only us, we have got some feeling inside what they will think if we are like this. But generally when we see sensible Westerners also, they appreciate our cultural attire, how we look, how we appear, what are our mannerisms. If we are sincere in accepting our culture, they will also sincerely appreciate. If we have doubt, they will also have doubt. Because this doubt goes and enters into their mind. Whatever it is, so this is also very helpful to us in managing watchfulness. And then we move on to the next one. That is, once in a while, wherever we are, instead of getting stuck to our seat and getting lost in our desk work, these are the two things that happen to people who are at work. Either they are stuck to the seat or lost in the desk work. It is advised to get up and then move around for a while. I am not saying because of the back problem, spine problem, neck problem, which of course is true. Only after people get their problems, then they get the advice from others that don't keep head like this always, don't keep spine like that always, don't keep your back like that always. That is a different story. We are not giving orthopedic advices here. They are also important, but here this is managing watchfulness. Just get up from the seat, walk around for a while. Why? Because when we walk around for a while, then we get to meet, but that is not that go and disturb the people and then go distract the people, not that way. Just walk around and see how people respond to your movement, and their responses give an opportunity to you to see whether they are accepting your movement or not accepting your movement, whether they welcome you or whether they don't welcome you, whether they superficially welcome you, whether they sincerely welcome you. All this is an opportunity to recognize how they express and to position yourself in different situations where people express differently. So then you can get that opportunity to accept different responses from people. When we accept different responses from people, we don't get bothered when somebody doesn't pay attention, when somebody doesn't recognize our presence, because we are getting used to this. Few will feel good, few feel comfortable, few feel uncomfortable. Why this and then few people and we get used to all these things. We get internal clues how to face these situations, and yet be normal in our behavior. That is the point. If they turn away, not you also turn away. Never I will come. And then this being in the same workplace, being in the same place where you have to meet each other or meet with those people, and then keep fighting, and then have internal blocks, and then I went to I will also, and this goes on inside. And then when you sit in the desk, at the desk on the chair, then this is the botheration and no concentration, and we lose our tuning to the work. So this is all things that are coming to us because of social interaction. It is helping us, and let them respond in whatever manner they like. We get clues how to face. And in addition to that, we may be positive and very affectionate in our greeting or in our expression of proper mannerism towards them, and come back. And sometimes we get to observe how people do their work, whether they are really concentrating on the work, whether they are doing their pace work, and whether they are really sincere to the organization or institution in which they are working. We can get clues. And somebody said, don't go to the secretariat. You will always find people in the relaxing room. So that is a different story altogether. But it will help us. It will really help us to interact better and to position ourselves in a better place, in a better situation while interacting with others. So that is also an important ingredient. And when we enter into a place where there is a big group, then we can also catch the mood of the whole group, how they are responding to us. One person responding to us positively or negatively is more easier to face than a group responding to us. Sometimes some people become a group and then they don't respond to us properly. How to face that? That we will learn when we go around like this. And if a group is very positive and is welcoming, that also we will know how to respond without getting overexcited. So this is all to help us. That is all it is, very important. And then we move on to the next point. That is, whenever we get an invitation, to attend a meeting or a function or a gathering or an interactive association, if we take up that opportunity, if we have time, if we can spare some time, it is always advisable to take up that opportunity because it will help us to enhance our social skills. So then, what is supposed to be done before we go to that event is to imagine an interaction which we are going to do in that event, or imaginatively plan ahead for the social event. Imaginatively plan ahead. If we can imaginatively plan ahead, because there might be few people who will be coming there and it is a good opportunity to drive your point in or to say something effectively in communication. So you can pick up few people in your imagination, in your imaginative plan, and then also note down certain points in that limited span of time that is available. What all points you want to communicate, to whom you want to communicate, how you want to communicate, how effective you want to keep it. So all this planning, and some people even advise to maintain the checklist also. No problem. So when we go into that social gathering, unplanned entry, we don't know what to do now, where to go, whether to sit here on that table, in this table, or to meet that person. When we find 2-3 people are busy talking to themselves, we don't know whether to go there. Some people feel lost when they go to these social events. So they don't know how to behave, they don't know how to start. So that is why this imaginative planning is very important, very helpful before we go. If we plan out, then actually when we go there, we can straight away meet a person, and then maybe we can sit on a dining table and we can spend some time, we can start communication because already we have planned, the points start coming to the mind, and effectively communicate, drive the point, and then build the relationship in such opportunity. Because this is enhancing our social skills so that we can improvise our watchfulness. This also helps us. This is going to really take us into such a situation where then we will develop a skill how to effectively communicate to people when we meet them. When we meet them for the first time, an important person, a very top person, it is better to prepare imaginatively, to plan well beforehand, and then go for such a meeting. That is always very good. Planning for the future. Like sometimes insurance agents come and say, plan for future, because we know how to take care of you and your people in future. So it so happened that one such insurance agent came to sell his insurance policy, and one husband got very interested in taking a policy for his wife. So he was involved in the discussion, and then the insurance agent started preparing the certificates or whatever the policy papers for the wife of this person. And while he was writing, husband was inquiring about what are the benefits, what is that, what is this, and how much of returns will come and all. After the policy is done and he made the payment, and then he asked, payment is done. After that he asked, what if my wife dies tomorrow, what will I get? I said, what will I get if my wife dies tomorrow? The agent thought for a while and said, at the most you will get a death sentence from the judge in the court. Because somebody will definitely file a case, you will get a death sentence from it. Today you take a policy and tomorrow your wife dies. So the idea here is, planning well for the future is not only connected to insurance policies. We can plan well ahead when we are supposed to attend important events or to meet important people. What will help us is, when we go there, when we plan like this, we utilize every moment very preciously and for our benefit and for the benefit of the other also. Otherwise we get engrossed in our own apprehensions about striking a conversation or starting to meet people. Because in social event, this is one of the important things that happens. And it is also said that we get engrossed in our own thoughts. And then when we get engrossed, then we will not be able to interact properly. I have heard that one parent, the father, was engrossed in his work. So he sat on his chair and he was looking at his work on his desk in his own house, of course, but he was totally engrossed in it. At that time, his little son goes there and then he's trying to figure out certain things in social studies and with the map. So he looks at the father and suddenly, children suddenly goes and then asks father, Dad, where is this Siloam? Where is this Siloam? And father is engrossed, he looks at the child and then immediately turns towards his work and says, ask your mother, she always misplaces things. She always puts things away. Ask her where she kept the Siloam. Response is there, but not correct. Interaction is there, but not apt. Not what the person wanted. So these type of interactions are not going to help us in any manner. So if we plan well ahead of the social event, then we will be able to interact very well and properly. We can make an opportunity out of that social event. And it is our choice whether we feel happy about the social event or we feel disturbed about the social event. It seems once there was a meeting only of husbands, meeting for husbands. The eligibility was there should be husband, person should be husband, or only for husbands. And in that meeting, there was a conclusive expression. One of the conclusive expressions. Many things were concluded there, but one of the conclusive expressions is, many of them sat together and concluded, heaven is to have a German car, American salary, Chinese food, and Indian wife. They conclude. Because they knew how each culture, what is the most unique feature, what is the speciality, what is the greatness, what is the glory, what is the benefit. So in that meeting they concluded like this. And they also concluded side by side, hell is having a Chinese car, German food, American wife, who never bothers, and Indian salary. Whatever it is, probably these conclusions are based on their experiences of various situations. That doesn't matter. But the most important thing is conclusions, intelligent conclusions, sound and healthy conclusions can be arrived at only when there is power of observation, which is linked to watchfulness. So after the 9th point of imaginatively planning ahead for a social event, now we move on to the 10th point. But the important thing there, in the earlier point also is, whenever we meet people in such functions or gatherings or events, we need to avoid certain topics, sensitive topics. Otherwise what happens? Suddenly conflict arises and suddenly there will be disruption in the relationship. Sensitive topics need to be avoided. Better avoid political things, or sometimes religious things, or sometimes very sensitive things. It is advised to focus on current events, simple current events, and also work-related events. Best. That will be best. And moving on to the next one. Whenever we attend meetings or gatherings or any discourses or lectures or any presentations, at that time we need to recognize many things that are expressed at that time. Otherwise, what happens? Nowadays, sometimes in such meetings, in such talks, in such discourses, some people who are well versed with modern gadgets and all, they will be holding handhelds and immediately trying to take note of it. At that time, what happens? More attention is on the handheld and these gadgets, and very less attention is on the person who is expressing things. So, in such expressions, in such talks, much more is expressed beyond words. So, we need to pay attention to all such things by not getting lost in our handhelds or various other things. Because in a live communication, the live energy, the live vibration gets expressed not only through words but through various things. All those things have to be attentively understood and watched. So that also is an ingredient in managing watchfulness. Very attentive. It is said, I have heard, that the American Space Agency, the NASA, were confronted with one problem, it seems, once. The problem is that in the space shuttle or space capsule, in that zero situation there, atmosphere there, the ballpoint pen doesn't function. Ballpoint pen doesn't work in that space at that time, in the space capsule. So it seems. Now they appointed a research department to make research on how to make a ballpoint pen work. They spent $5 million and for 2 years. I have heard this somewhere. And afterwards it seems the research department could not attain success. How to make a ballpoint pen work or how to find a ballpoint pen which will work. Now then, suddenly one of the persons got an idea to ask their Russian counterparts. Russia also does a lot of these things. So they contacted them, they asked them that we have this problem, we have been struggling, we spent so much and all. They said, that is not a problem at all for us. How? They asked. We use pencil. Simple. You have to make note. Why you want to make ballpoint pen work? Pencil. Simple. How this happens? This happens only when there is the presence of mind and when there is that skill of watchfulness. This might be a humorous thing that is communicated, but actually we get lost into so many things. We think we are seriously doing some research and fail to recognize simple things. We make ourselves very complicated by getting engrossed in certain things. We may logically sound ample, research going on, amount of energy being spent on simple things we fail to understand. How we can find substitutes. That is why it is always good for us to enhance our skills as much as possible. And then another important point is to be aware of the right timing in communication. Managing watchfulness is connected with the right timing. Not about only time management, but this also is a timing management. Whenever we are communicating things with others, find out recognize, observe, be watchful whether they are in appropriate temperament to receive your communication, to receive your proposal, to pay attention to what you are saying. That is very important. Whether they are in the right frame of mind. That is why it is said we have to ask right question at the right time with the right person in the right frame of mind. You have to say right thing in the right way when the person is in the right frame of mind. That is very important. Suppose somebody wants to explain something and the person is in a hurry or a person is in a worry, and then at times you try to explain, they will never pay attention. In a hurry or worry. So wait for the right time. Suppose somebody is already frustrated by someone who interacted with the person before you went there. So the person is stressed up, frustrated. At that time you want to go and say, I found out a very nice thing for God, the person. You get frustrated and show the signs of frustration. Okay, go. So that is not the time to seek for permission or to present what you want to present. So that is very important to find out the timing. And somebody is hungry and want to go to the dining hall to eat something, at that time, stop and then start talking. Nobody will be interested. Or somebody is rushing to toilet, at that time you go and tell something. Who will listen? Like that there are external pressures and internal pressures, temperaments connected with those pressures. So be watchful about those temperaments and then be aware of the right frame of the mind and wait for the right mood, wait for the right frame of mind and then only communicate. That is what is very important. There is no need for us to rush in our communication, hurry in our communication. We need to wait for the person to get back into the right frame of mind and then only present. Or then only start communication. Whatever we want to communicate, we can communicate only at that time. Because then only we can be masters of situation. Allow them to master the situation, then we can master the situation. If they are mastered by situations, they are not available to us. It seems once when Bill Clinton, when he was a president, when he came to India, he was taken around to many places. First time he came at that time, so he was getting exposed to various things that happened in this side of the world, this part of the world, especially in India. So he was taken at the evening time at 5 o'clock to the secretariat just to show how things happen. And in the New Delhi secretariat, South Block, North Block, which is near the Rajpath, and then so what happened in the South Block and North Block, at that time, evening time, many people started coming out. Because the office time is over, they came out. Most of these clerks and then various other third grade, fourth grade level of workers and all, they came out. And they were coming out of it. Hundreds of them were coming out of the offices, the North Block and South Block. And most of them were walking and few of them were cycling and all that. So there was one guide, very important political person who was acting like a guide to Bill Clinton. So Bill Clinton inquired, who are these people? Then that political guide said, they are the masters of the nation. These people are the masters of the nation. He said, these people, masters of the nation, walking, cycling? Yes, these are the masters. And after a while, then there was a stream of vehicles, cars, some of them very posh cars, bulletproof cars, imported cars, and then escort cars were there, escorts were there, gunmen were there, and then people started coming out of their cars. Then he asked at the same, who are they? They were all ministers, politicians and all. Then this man said, they are the servants of the nation. Servants are coming with gunmen, with imported cars, bulletproof cars, with all paraphernalia, escort. Masters of the nation are cycling and walking. Then he made a note. What a surprising thing I saw. Masters are so humble, servants are so pompy and show off. So we made his own notes. The idea here is in India like that only situation is. People who claim themselves to be servants, they are ruling the masters. Remember that. But the only point of view of the politicians says they are the masters only on one day. On the voting day. Afterward, do others. Whatever it is, actually, the main point is, even though people are masters of the nation, they don't know how to really keep servants of the nation. How to elect or select the servants of the nation. How much of corruptive practices? Have you seen any daily report without this? How many honest reports are there? How many sincere reports are there? Are there reports? One nice, honest person was talking to another sincere person. They did this sincere work. Even though they are there, they don't publish, they don't publicize. Because it is all negatively minded. That is how it is. And people also appreciate only those things. Whatever it is, here we have to become more positive and move towards divine. That is how we have to be. So if we are able to actually be watchful and wait for people to become masters of the situation, then we can also become masters of the situation, communicate properly. So allow people to get back to the right frame of mind. So all these and various other things like giving attention to the eyes, because nowadays people pay a lot of attention to the eyes in order to identify people, changes in the eyes, the graphics of the eyes, so many things. More than the physical identity, the eye shows more things that are happening inside. So in many of these criminal identifications, people are using the eye as a way to identify, recognize whether the person is speaking truth or telling untruth or various other things. Recently, something was there in the news also to use eye for various other things to derive political mileage or this mileage, that mileage, whatever it is. So then, eye is a very good point of observation. Look at the eye, and but there are some hard and fast statements. You need not bother about that. But generally, honest, truthful, sincere people's eyes will be steady. Deceptive eyes will always be moving here and there, unsteady. Like that body also. Deceptive intentions when they are inside, there will be unsteadiness in the physical structure. Steadiness will be there when there is inner steadiness. Some people may act it out, general guidelines. But better always, much more higher than this is to maintain a pure mind, a sincerely pure heart. Then this mind and heart will become mirrors. When they become mirrors, the others will get reflected inside. Without an attempt to watch, they are reflected inside. For this, we need to become more pure. We need to raise the levels of purity of mind and heart. In addition to this, in watchfulness, always trying to recognize people by their good traits, by their good qualities, and by their most important things in their life, their names. If we recognize people by their name, greet them, and recognize people by their good qualities, that is also very good and helpful to us. In addition to that, to enhance our watchfulness, we can even draw this power of observation, the method of observation from various plays, dramas, shows, movies, where great actors enact so many of these roles and they get identified with those roles so much and they express so much. When we observe these things with that attitude in our mind, we recognize how people can be in such situations. When we face such people, next time in real life, we know how these expressions will be there. That also helps us. And now we go into the connected, related slokas which make a lot of meaning. How to be aware, how to enhance our skills of watchfulness, and how all-round watchfulness should be there. Upekshaya karunaya, upekshaya karunaya, sada muditaya hrudi, shuddhaya shakti paddhatya, bodhena atmanam archayet. Vasishtha ji, in his communication to Sri Ramachandra ji, says this sloka, bodhena atmanam archayet. There are various ways and methods of worshipping the Atman, the self. One of the ways is bodhena, by awareness or by watchfulness. This is a very important guideline. Worshipping the self, inner self is the supreme self. Same supreme self is inside as inner self, same it is outside as supreme self or the highest self. Worshipping the self, one of the methods is bodhena, with awareness or with watchfulness. Let one worship the self by awareness. How? Shuddhaya Shakti Paddhatya. Shuddhaya Shakti Paddhatya. By or through the pure path of power. Pure path. Shakti Paddhati. Path of power. But Shuddhaya Shakti Paddhatya. Pure path of power. What is this pure path of power? The power of subduing the thought process and manifesting the inherent consciousness. Not getting lost in past recollections and future plans. First point. Second point, not getting lost or getting locked up in mental internal chatter, and like that various other things are there. Few points we have seen. It is an answer to all those few points that we have to exercise this power, worship this self by watchfulness through the pure path of power. This power is subduing the thought process and manifesting the inherent consciousness. To subdue the thought process, the mechanical thought process, the locking up internal chatter, all that, subdue it and manifest the consciousness. And how do we do that? Upekshaya karunaya sada muditaya hridi. Upekshaya karunaya muditaya hridi. Upekshaya, by indifference towards these negative things that are there. Getting occupied with past or future, getting locked up in the mental internal chatter, all this, being indifferent to those things. And being compassionate to various other persons' remarks and opinions that are expressed. You have already said, invite people, ask both these things, maintain balance, all that is included here. Be compassionate towards them. Be in compassion. Be indifferent towards few things. Be compassionate towards people. And at the same time, be in joy of the heart and keep a smile on the face. When there is joy in the heart, smile will be there on the face. So both these things are connected with Sada Muditaya Hridi. When there will be Sada Muditaya Hridi, always keeping joy in the heart, when we are watchful, when we utilize this power like this, we will be like that. Indifferent to indifference, to compassion, to joy in the heart. And then next we move on to the sloka, which talks about all-round behavioral patterns of the people and what we have to do, whether it is connected with ourselves or with others. Pashyan shrunvan sprushan jigran. Pashyan shrunvan Sprushan Jigran Ashnan Gachan Swapan Swasan Pralapan Visrujan Grahnan Shuddha Samvinmayo Bhave Shuddha Samvinmayo Bhave. All activities are covered here very beautifully. How we have to be while we are in those activities, how we have to be while others are in those activities. What all we covered just now, watching people here, there, watching this, watching that, all that. Pashyan, Shrunvan, Sprushan, Jigran, Ashnan, Gachan, Swapan, Swashan, Pralapan, Visrujan, Gragnan, Shuddha Samvinmayo Bhave. Pashyan, seeing, when you are seeing many things, when others are seeing many things, both the things seeing, while you are seeing, while others are seeing, while you are seeing things, situations, happenings, incidents, people. Then, Shrunvan, when you are listening, there were suggestions, pay attention, totally, listen totally. When you are seeing, see totally, see all those things, all that, what we have covered. Then, Sprushan, when we are touching things, whether by physical hands or by mental thoughts, when we are touching. Then Jigran, smelling, meaning we are experiencing various things through taste, through tongue, through smell, all that stands at the same time. Then Ashnan, when we are eating, meaning receive various inputs through senses. When we are eating also, while people are eating also, when we are eating also, we can observe ourselves, how we eat, how others eat. That also is a point of understanding their temperament which is happening inside. Gachan, when they are moving in their movements, when we are moving in our movements. External movements, internal movements. All these things we have covered. But they are put in one nutshell, one sloka. Swapan, when they are breathing, when they are sleeping. Swapan, when they are sleeping. Swashan, when they are breathing. Meaning, at times in meetings when people are dozing off, or when they have to do their duty, when they are like that, or various modes of their existence of the external and internal personalities. That's what Swapan means, Swashan means. And then Pralapan, when they are speaking, when the people are speaking, when you go to meeting, talking, how we have to look at them when they are speaking, when you are speaking. Visrujan, Granhan, when they are leaving things, when they are taking things, meaning all activities. All activities. What we have to be? Shuddha Samvinmayo Bhave. Meaning we have to be full of conscious watchfulness. Conscious watchfulness. Conscious awareness. That's all. Or pure consciousness. Only when we are in pure consciousness or conscious watchfulness, which in other words is conscious awareness, we can really be in a position to enhance the skill of watchfulness. Ultimately connected to that, but that manifests to all activities. Observing everybody, observing yourself. How? Only one way. This is what has to be manifested. And then, concluding today's discourse, one more sloka is there to be covered. Antasitaladehasu Pragnairyasyavalokhyate Akritrimaika shantasya Sajnanityabhidhiyate. Vasishtha says a very, very important thing. one who has mastered the skills of watchfulness, inside, outside, one who has awakened the potential of conscious awareness inside. Sa jnani iti abhidiyate. Sa jnani iti abhidiyate. Sa jnani iti abhidiyate. He is called a person of true knowledge. Who is called a person of true knowledge? He is called a person of true knowledge. Continuing, it is said, Antaha, who is that? Akritrimaika Shantasya. Meaning, having, who is said to be a person of true knowledge? One who is having a natural and firm tranquility. Natural tranquility, firm tranquility inside. Natural and firm tranquility. And Antaha Sheetalate Hyasu Prajnaihi Yasya Avalokyate, and whose inner coolness is seen in his activities, whose inner coolness is seen in his activities. Antaha Sheetalate Hyasu Prajnaihi Yasya Avalokyate, by the wise people who are seeing this, who are recognizing this inner coolness of the person in his activities. The wise people are recognizing this. Meaning, when the people who are beyond this impacts, they are able to say, recognize the inner coolness in a person. Such a person is said to be a person of knowledge, because there is natural and firm tranquility inside, and that person is cool inside in all the activities. Then only watchfulness is found. What a beautiful declaration by your sister. So, this is the highest spiritual quality which is utilized in managing watchfulness to enhance the social state. But the best thing here is, all activities we have to awaken the potential of conscious watchfulness, and also we have to understand that because of the awakening of the potential of conscious watchfulness, we will be able to experience natural and firm tranquility and inner coolness in all the activities. In all the activities. Not one activity is spared, in all the activities. That is what is connected with managing watchfulness. Tomorrow we will see managing interactions, and that is the conclusion of this session on strategy for success. Oh.